Welcome to Louisiana Heart Beats. I'm Sudie Landry, and today I have an author who has just released her first book. She is known as Julia E. Davis, but she lets her friends call her Beth, right?
That is correct.
Beth, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm excited that we were able to get you to come in.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, let me tell you what, a lot of people are going to want to know stuff about the author, but I just wanted to share with you that, number one, we want to know, where were you born and raised? Just a little idea.
I was born in Houma, which is south of here, but I moved to Lafayette when I was about 13, so I consider myself a Lafayette resident.
Okay, so then, and so you do reside in Lafayette
Yes,
at this
ma'am.
time?
I do.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad. Another local author.
Yes,
Yay.
ma'am.
Is this your first book to release?
This is my first book. It came out of something special for me, but it is my first release and hopefully not my last.
No, me either, because I'd like to read the whole series, as I told you in the beginning. It's not often you can pick up a book and just read a little bit and know that you want to read everything that comes after that, which is going to be one of those questions I ask you much later. Okay, so this is your first book to release. All right, it has been released. So when was it released for the public in order to be able to buy it?
It was released right at Thanksgiving, and
This year, 2000?
Well, 2018.
Okay.
So it's getting on the bookshelves now. The press releases are going out this week to the major markets, but it is currently available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Google, and Apple iTunes.
Sounds like you've got yourself one fantastic marketing publisher set up there, which is very important in order to get the people's work out there, for people to know what to buy and what not to buy, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm excited to learn that, and like I said, I only got a glimpse into just a little bit of it, and I was hooked. And so I look forward. Honestly, I'm not just saying this. I really do want to follow all of your books. Okay, so, all right, so you just mentioned where it is available. All right, so now, share why you chose the title Love Storm.
Well, it is a romance novel, so it is full of love, or hopes of love, and there is a storm involved in the book, and storm in a lot of terms, both weather storm,
yes.
but also love and the storm of individuals and their relationships.
Okay, I like that idea. And question, why do you like to write?
I think I inherited that from my father, but it also gives you a chance to express in words what you can't always express verbally, and be able to share those thoughts and ideas with other individuals.
And that's so true, because that's how I write too. How did the idea to write this book come about?
A couple of different things. Basically, I'm a Hallmark movie fan, and one year I sat down and was watching movie after movie while I do my second hobby, which is crocheting. And and so after a while, they all got monotonous, and I said, they need some new life. And so I sat down and I said, I need to put some ideas together that would be something different for a love story. And I also wanted to do something for my daughter, and so the combination turned into this book.
Well, I had the honor of reading why she wrote this book, and I think it's a fantastic idea, and I believe that different people are going to read into it what they need in their life that may be missing. Now, with that said, okay, how do you relate to the character in this book?
I think that young women need to be able to journey in their life in different aspects. The girl in the story is both work-driven, but she's lonely, and so I think that you have to find balance in your life, and part of this story is about finding that balance, being able to follow the career that you want, but also find love and commitment from a relationship to find that happy balance within your life.
And when you refer to the happy balance, you are referring to people who love to work like I always love to work, but I also had to help make a living and just very glad. I love to work to start with. And so I was always trying to work in not neglecting my children and activities with them. And so this book kind of will reach out to let people, women or men, know it's okay to work. Just take time to balance out the rest of your life. Not everybody has a wonderful, happy marriage. That I understand that you seem to really appreciate your marriage. But this book right here shows that for those, you can still find happiness, which is encouraging. So I think your central message is what in this book?
To trust yourself, to be able to find that balance of being able to work, have a relationship of any sort, but to be happy with your way that you choose to live your life, that you can balance that in between a relationship and being a workaholic.
Now that we have started this show, I also want to thank Facebook Live for tuning in, and hopefully you will be able to see her email up there. If you have any questions, be sure to send them to her, and she'd be more than glad to answer, I'm sure. Now, excuse me, with that said, when did you start putting this book together, and when was it finally finished?
It probably started about 4 years ago. It only took me about 6 months to actually write it, but being able to get it edited and re-edited and to find the right publisher took that much time. And then once we found the editor and the publisher, to go through and get it just right to be able to get it into book form and get it released.
Well, as a now soon-to-be definitely published author out there in the market, what word would you use to encourage the authors out there that want to, or the non-published yet authors? What advice would you give them if they truly believe in their story and they're having trouble finding that right person to publish, to edit? What would be something you would like to share from your experience, maybe?
Well, one of the secrets in the book is about trusting in yourself and your abilities. And so I think that if you really trust that you've got a good story and it's worth getting out there and getting it published, just keep trying. Just keep looking for publishers, work with the Writers Guild, work with bookstores, get a publisher that you can work with and be able to put your book out there. This was not something that I anticipated doing, years ago, but it happened because I trusted signs that this was meant to be published.
Well, as the president of the Writers Guild of Acadiana, my heart's desire is to be part of connecting people with the right person that will meet their comfort zone and give them what they want and will not take over and change their story. That's the biggest thing.
Correct.
Beth, is the biggest thing is finding that one publisher that truly, agrees with what you've written. We need to be, up for corrections, but that doesn't mean that we have to let someone change the whole character, change the whole reason for writing the book. And a lot of people have had some bad experiences. So it sounds like, even though it may have taken you 4 years, you were not discouraged?
No, what I did was I had friends and family read the book and give me suggestions of, this is too much, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I worked with the suggestions to my comfort level. Once I found the publisher actually would only do editing on grammar.
Yes.
And did not change my story at all. They'd made no recommendations for the story at that point. We only went back and forth to make sure all the editing, and if I wanted to tweak something at that point that I could, but they did not touch the story itself.
Okay, my question is, and you only need to give a little bit of detail, is yes or no. Is your publisher local, or is your publisher out of country, or just out of the United States?
It's based in New York.
Based in New York. No matter how hard we try to get people locally that will, there's not many people here locally that actually can do what most authors want for whatever reason. So, I'm sure you don't mind sharing in the future to others who may ask who you used, and be glad that you can be a part of helping them and their journey a little easier?
I worked with Page Publishing, and it is a company that is generated to help first-time authors.
Okay.
A lot of publishing companies won't work with first-time authors.
That's good resource information.
Yes, and so this company would graded my book, decided that yes, it was worth publishing.
That name has come up many times, and that was all I needed to hear, was that still is a good name out there.
Yes.
Okay, now, could you share briefly with the viewing audience at least a little snippet of what this book is about? Beginning, middle, and end. Not end.
Not
but
in.
something to let them know why it's going to be so special.
This is a story about a young woman who lives in New York, born and raised in Louisiana, and is coming home on vacation due to a friend's wedding, but it's also her 30th birthday. And looking at her friends getting married and other friends that are with her that night that are married or in a relationship, and here she is in New York alone, and she's lonely. And so this story takes hold of her, and there's mystery, there's a little crime, there's the storm, and of course she meets a man.
Of course, good.
And it's what goes on after they meet up with a fortune teller, and the mystery of what the fortune teller tells the group of girls, and how it progresses from there in her relationship.
And that's where I got to, and that's why I got to go further and read the rest of the story.
Yes.
Okay, author Julia E. Davis. Do you have any plans to write a sequel to this book here, Love Storm?
Not a sequel to this one. I have another book that is in process.
Awesome. Good. Is it the same genre? Nonfiction or?
It is nonfiction romance, but it's based in a small town in Mississippi, and it's about a young widow.
Okay. Well, I love to read series, but I also love the individual stories too. And anything that has a life message in it, and encouragement, and some facts that are true to many out there in the world, they can relate. Already, I'm interested, in your book because of what I had read, what you just shared. Okay, so that was a great answer. Now, what other writing projects are in the works? If so, please share. So we're writing another book eventually, or are you working on it now?
I am working on it now. I've gone to the location of where it's based out of and done some legwork there. I'm working on my characters at this point to develop what their personalities are, what the adventure is going to be, and it's going to be a little bit different story, and there's going to be some challenges for not only the individuals, but for the town. And so that's going to be something different as well.
Do you always plan to write in the genre of nonfiction?
Yes.
Awesome, great. But you know what? As you just brought up creating your characters, you also have been attending an outlet for our Writers Guild of Acadiana.
Correct.
And, which is held the third Monday of every month at Barnes & Noble from 6:30 p.m. Now, the reason I bring that up is this is for the serious writers who really do want to learn these different things and building characters and creating characters. And I was the one that said, hey, I'm not interested. My stories are only true stories, but I'll go and support the leader, who is Louis Broussard, who's doing an amazing job.
Wonderful job.
He not only has his topic, he actually issues us a little project to do while
Correct.
we're there. And me being the one that said, oh, I'm not interested, and I'm getting very interested.
Yes.
I'm actually learning and appreciating. I can't even sit down and watch TV anymore without seeing what the plot is and the characters
Correct.
are. And I'm excited that he took on this. And you do have to be a member to be part of this writing group. But I have seen you. That's how I basically got to know a little bit about you. And you're not as shy as you pretended to be either. You're doing a great job on this show. Okay, so you're going to stick with your nonfiction genre. Okay, would you like to take a minute and kind of credit the ones who have supported you through this journey of becoming this published author?
I'd like to, of course, thank my husband, who spent many nights alone while I was typing away in the computer and cooking supper for me so I could eat during the course of the project. And he was very supportive of both getting it published and helping me with certain scenes. I needed some physical capabilities on that, so he did that. And of course, my daughter Samantha, who also was my final editor of the book, and my bassist. One of the things they always told me about writing was write about what you know.
That's true.
And Samantha, I know, and so she was
How old is your daughter now?
34.
34. What a relationship. That's
Yes.
awesome. That's amazing. I admire your family, and I haven't even got to know them yet. I guess I get a little bit more insight after I read the book, because I'm going to question you. You know, and it's amazing. Number one, congratulations to actually having this kind of book, and I'm grateful for you sharing the fact of appreciating your family. That's so
Yes.
important, and them being so supportive.
Yes.
That is amazing also too, because a lot of people I personally know do not get that support, and they have to struggle on to get to where they want to be, and that's not good for a family unit. It needs to be, you know, all in one chord. So I'm so happy to say that you have a balanced.
Yes.
You have balanced your life just like the character in the book. I think
have found the balance in my life. Yes,
that's
I
amazing,
have.
and you're writing about it, and you know that. So that's going to make some more awesome books. Okay. Any book signings scheduled in the
Not
near
yet.
future?
I'm hoping to get something set up soon. Hopefully through Barnes and Noble, we'll do it there. But I'd like to work with other bookstores, maybe in Iberia, New Orleans, since the book is based in New Orleans, and be able to reach out to individuals that are interested in love stories with mystery involved in.
Well, I'm giving you kind of a line out there to hook you up. Our actual publicist in the Writers Guild of Acadiana is doing a fantastic job at keeping us up to date where there are book signings.
Okay.
And there's one in New Iberia coming up real soon.
Wonderful.
You may want to check that out, or even, you know, I can get her to let you know. She posted stuff so that I can share it.
Great.
So I'll get her to post all her stuff again, and I'll try to tag you and other authors, which is what I like to do. So, how do you now feel that you have become a published author? What difference in your life did it make?
A sense of pride that I was able to actually do a project that I feel strongly about, and that I can share the feelings and thoughts with the public, and so I'm just real pleased that it was written well enough that a publisher wanted to take it forward and actually do the publishing for me. So.
That's amazing. Well, you need to share that with other people who are interested in getting the work published. That would help in it, motivate them also.
Yes.
How has it changed your life in any particular way? I mean, what did you gain out of writing your own book? Besides being proud?
Just besides being proud, I think that it hasn't gotten too large yet. It hasn't gotten to my head. So as of right now, it hasn't changed. I still work. And so this is just a chance to motivate me to write more. And I think that's the biggest thing, is to be able to share more. I've written some short stories that I've shared with the family, and so that might be something that I continue, as well as trying to do a full novel.
When do you do most of your writing? Is there any particular time?
Basically at night, nights and weekends.
Everybody else is supposed to be sleeping.
Yes. Well, and it's hard because after you work all day,
Quiet.
you got to find that quiet time to be able to, you know, get away the stress of the day and be able to focus into the stories and to the people of the stories and make them come to life.
Okay, different people have different ways of organizing to get their book started. I, for example, I write short, inspirational, true stories, my own experiences, period. So it only takes me about 30 minutes to write my little short stories, but it takes me about an hour and 50 minutes or 2 hours to really edit and edit and edit it. And so therefore, it's easier to write a inspirational nonfiction than it is to write a fiction. You have got to really make sure that everything, the characters are fluent throughout the whole book and all this, which in my particular one book, that my first book, I noticed that they took one of my characters and changed it from, by the time the book was finished, the cat became a dog. And unfortunately for me, I hadn't caught that. Isn't that amazing? But it was a minor, but it was a big learning experience for me. So I brought that up to say this, excuse me, that a lot of people need to be more organized, but they need to do it their way. There's the former president of Acadiana's Writers Guild of Acadiana. That girl has 5 boards, and she can work on 5 stories at one time, and she did a workshop for us. That's not me. I have a friend that has crochet. She and I crochet and give this stuff away. She has, Lord, her crochet fills up my whole car. She has her little book, how many rows she did on this and this and this and this. And she's got crochet everywhere, which means I learned what multitasking can really be like. I thought I was a no, because when I start something, I choose to get down an outline, and I decide what I want to say or whatever or correct. That's how I do it. Now, with you, how do you get your book outlined and ready to go before you write it?
Well, with this book, I had an idea, an opening idea, and I sat down and I wrote, and it just flowed. This particular book just flowed, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, then we add this drama, and we add this drama, and then I went to a class after the book was actually written, and got some good information, and so I tweaked it a little bit based on that information, and there was a writing class on the UL's classes, and then so I worked with it from there. On the second book, I am working on a little bit more of the development. I'm trying to get what my full story is going to be before I get too much written, so that way it does flow, the characters do flow, the intermingling, the drama, the dangers, all are set in correct time frames and character studies.
Beth, as you're saying that, I'm picturing and recalling some of the things in this class that you and I both are going to. And I highly recommend to any serious authors out there that plan on writing more than one book to search out these places and take down these resources and check out what you can get, and that makes a better book. It really does. But you have to do the work. Where I also know a lot of new authors that are so disappointed because they believe in their books so much that when it doesn't sell, they're devastated. But we don't just write. We have to learn how to market our books also. And that's where resources are important, which our second guest coming in has shared a lot of resources in his book. So I do believe that a serious writer will do what they can to make sure that story is told exactly how they want it. But understand, you don't just write it and it sells. You got to be part of that public, that out there. People know your face. They hear your name if they don't know your face. And a lot of free outlets to promote yourself is there. Facebook is a good one, for example. Acadiana Open Channel is another one. And of course, YouTube, here we go, So we're also at the ending of the show. My rolling credits will be soon coming up, but I want to quote something from you. You said, I always wish for individuals to find their soulmate and enjoy marriage as much as I do. That was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was just a positive thing that a lot of people need to hear.
Yes.
And I know your husband and your family appreciate that too. Sam, excuse me, getting over this bad cold, but we're here. Okay, with the rolling credits, is there anything you'd like to add at the end of this show? We're now closing.
Just to remember to encourage your children to face their fears but trust their abilities and use those abilities for a good life, a good, honest life.
Okay, and with that said, I want to thank you, Facebook, for tuning in and for Acadiana Open Channel. Anybody viewing out there, please know we're interested in telling your story. So if you would like to come on the show, shoot me an email or call ALC. They'll be glad to give you that information. Meanwhile, we have a lot of authors that come on, but we also showcase other people. So thank you, and tune in every Monday night to be able to see this show.
Thank you for having me.